Hi, my name is Nick Craig. I run the Core Leadership Institute. Over the last 10 years, 10 plus years, one of the things that I have done is looked at every article that's been published each month in the topic area of purpose. Originally, a little over 10 years ago, or around 10 years ago, myself and Scott Snook wrote an article, and it was probably one of the first articles that was published in Harvard Business Review, called Purpose to Impact. In some sense, in those days, it was a strange topic to be sitting in Harvard Business Review. These days, it's one that, for the most part, is on almost every one of the Harvard Business Review that are published every other month. So in some sense, the topic has gone from something that's an anomaly that only the very few or the leading bleeding few do, to something that now has become something that we all have seen. In the meantime, myself and the research team I've been working with have been looking at all these articles over the years and looking to see what the trend is and where things are going. I've decided this year to actually share with you some of the best articles that I've read in the last year. The focus of these is to have them be something new and something different. There's a lot of articles that are being published which help clarify and remind people of the gift of purpose. And I want to acknowledge everyone who's written any of those pieces. They're very important because in some sense, what happens when you do something that is an idea that shifts to a movement is the way you know it is because everyone starts talking about it. That's where we are right now. So we're going to give you a chance to read some of these articles. We're going to be releasing these in a number of different ways. There's a couple of different themes that these articles come in. The first one is on making organizational purpose work. It's one of the challenging things that we find right now is everyone has an organizational purpose, but it doesn't make much of a difference. One of the articles you'll read is from a colleague of mine, Ranjay, Gulati, who wrote a book called Deep Purpose, and he's got an article that was in Harvard Business Review that is a wonderful clarity of the difference between a real deep purpose and what he refers to as convenient purpose. I hope you enjoy that article. I also have an article in there on the power of vulnerability, which I consider to be one of the core essences of being a good leader in the world we live in today. The second area we're going to focus on is I have a couple of articles on leading with purpose. What does it mean as an individual to lead with purpose? And once again, someone I know very well, Hubert, Joly, is written some beautiful work on what does it take as a CEO or as a leader to do that. And he was the CEO of Best Buy. And he has some beautiful experiences and ways of thinking about what does it mean to lead from purpose. He reminds me of my colleague, Bill George, who really created the authentic leadership movement that I got to participate with over the last 15 years. And Hubert, in some sense, is doing the same thing for purpose. So it's a wonderful piece to take a look at. One of the other topics we'll share and talk about, you'll get a chance to read about, is purpose-action gap. There's a wonderful gap between what's espoused and the brutal reality of what happens in the real world. There's a couple of wonderful articles showing sort of the edgy realities of the consequence of what that means. One from Deloitte and the other from McKinsey, who do a great job of giving us the research that we need to understand some of this. A key area there's a couple of articles on is on measurement of purpose. We've finally gotten to the point where nice and fluffy isn't good enough. It's now into the rigorous science and discipline of what you measure is what you achieve and what you do, and how do you take purpose and make it measurable and impactful. And we're starting to see some of the research in the articles, and we'll share a couple of those. My final gift to all of you is the gift of the academics. Organizational purpose, a systemic literature review. I love when this is done. It's probably one of the most difficult things and most time-consuming things that any set of human beings can do. And one of the greatest gifts it gives to those of us who want to understand purpose is someone who does a literature review of everything written on organizational purpose and says, okay, here's what all this stuff is really saying, and here's where it's leading, and here's still the open questions. And those academics who have done that work are a great gift to all of us. So I hope you enjoy all of these articles. One of them in there somewhere is from me as well. My research team has been amazingly important, and you'll have a note from me where I share my thanks to them. They are an important part of this journey. One of them has become a PhD and is teaching now at Fordham University. Aisha, she's one of my favorite people in the world. And Payal, who is actually doing a lot of the research these days. So look forward to seeing how you experience these articles from last year. Okay, thanks.